Hello everybody, Qualia Quartz here, back with another 20 album cover banner designs. This one took me way too long to get to. I've planned this one like a month ago. Some of these choices might make that obvious. We'll see. We're starting strong with the release of 1.21 using one of the new patterns, and we are using it for Dirt by Alice in Chains. This one has been so requested for so long, I wanted to wait for this pattern. I really wanted to use it. Take an orange banner, give it a red squiggly border, make the top half red, give it an orange gradient from the bottom, a red guster symbol, an orange block on top, and then red spikes on top. And here's how the shield is looking, not too shabby. There's a little bit more of the mountain kind of feel with this one. Up next, this was going to be the one that I started with just because relevance. At the time, the big Drake-Kendrick beef was literally the only thing anybody was ever talking about. Yes, even your grandma. Good lord, it took me so long. It's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. Take a white banner, give it a brown block on top, yellow spikes on top, a brown diagonal stripe from the bottom left to the top right, a black stripe on the right, a light gray block on the bottom, and then a gray block in the bottom left corner. Yet another photographic album cover that I really had to abstract and simplify, which I think also comes across very well on the shield. Like, looking from afar, that definitely conveys the cover on such a micro scale. Oh god. Up next, number 3, one of the worst nightmare covers to put on a banner. Yet again, had to abstractify this one a lot. It's Hellfire by Midi. I hate all of you. Just kidding, I'm really glad that I did this one, and I really like the way that it came out. There's something really satisfying about having a super chaotic cover and being able to simplify it down to its bare essence. We take a pink banner, give it a magenta gradient from the bottom, a gray block on the bottom, black stripes, a cyan squiggly border, orange spikes on top, and then light gray spikes on the bottom. It's all about picking apart which shapes matter the most, which colors matter the most. And I think I got all the most recognizable components of that. Here's what the shield looks like. The stripes, if anything, convey the cover even better on the shield just because they're that much more chaotic. Up next, we have our third entry from a band that releases so much music that I doubt I'm ever even going to be able to do all of their covers. They're just going to keep releasing new albums. It's Infest the Rat's Nest by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Take a yellow banner, give it a black squiggly border, a red block on the bottom, a yellow thing symbol, an orange diamond, a black block on top, and then a black circle. Love the way this one came out because that orange diamond not only helped shape it more, but it also gave it some shading. On the shield, the circle is a little too big. Up next, we got an album cover that has a lot of different variants, which is pretty typical of this artist, but I wanted to try doing some more of them. Only 2 of them came out good, and luckily one of those was the most popular version of the cover that most people will recognize. And it is Cherry Bomb by Tyler, the Creator. For what most people consider the main cover, we take a white banner, give it a red squiggly border, a normal white border, a light gray triangle on the bottom, a white cross, gray spikes on the bottom, and then a pink circle, which I think conveys the cover very, very well, even down to the text around the head. And then I did the other cover that's kind of just Tyler sitting there doing a goofy face. This one takes a light blue banner, gives it red bricks, a blue creeper face, then you make the top half blue, give it a brown diamond, a black triangle on the top, and then a blue block on top. I tried the Piss Pants cover, by the way. It did not come out very good, and honestly, that's probably for the best. Oh yeah. Up next, we have Songs About Fucking by Big Black, which I included because Steve Albini passed away. Rest in peace. For those who don't know, yes, this album is called Songs About Fucking, and it is a brilliant album. R.I.P. one of the best to ever do it. Take a light green banner, give it a pink block on the bottom, black spikes on the bottom, a lime green flower pattern, a lime green diagonal stripe from the bottom left to the top right, then a triangle on the top left, and magenta spikes on top. Banner already looks pretty good, but I think the shield wins out in this one. The way the elements on this banner combined on the shield just perfectly put that mouth pixel. Up next, a very requested one that I don't know why it took me so long to get to. I feel like in the back of my mind I thought this would be way harder than it actually turned out to be. It's Food by MF Doom. Take a black banner, give it a green thing, give it a black stripe on the right, a red triangle on the bottom, a light gray circle, a light gray block in the bottom left, and then lime spikes. This album cover presented another battle with limited layer space because I wanted to represent the table. I would have liked to get the window in a little bit, but I think getting MF Doom himself fully represented with the green hoodie and everything was the most important part. And it came out pretty good on the shield as well. Pretty much same thing. Up next, this is one of those covers that makes me wish I had more colors. The Tan Menace strikes again. It is The Shape of Punk to Come by Refused. Take a gray banner, give it a black block on the bottom, a light gray triangle on the top left, red spikes on the bottom, a black stripe down the center, a purple diamond, and then a yellow block on the top. And that makes for a very saturated version of the cover. But I think all things considered, these are the best colors for it, and this is a really good shape for the cover. Good shield too. Up next is a cover that a lot of big nerds are going to immediately recognize. That's me, I'm big nerd. It's The Powers That Be by Death Grips. Take a white banner, give it a light gray gradient from the top and the bottom, give it light gray bricks, a black flower pattern, a light gray flower pattern, and then a cyan circle. A fairly simple cover to design overall that I really wanted to make sure I got right. I've had several different versions of this over time, but I think this one looks the best. I wish there was a better, bigger circle that we could do without all the detail that the flower has, but it is what it is. Speaking of, said bigger circle kind of goes away on the shield, but it still looks pretty accurate. Up next, this is one that my friend Walker tasked me to do on the very first episode, and it took me a while to get it to a place where I actually really liked it, and it is Slide by George Clanton. Take a green banner, give it a white triangle on the top, a brown stripe down the center, make the left half black, give it a cyan triangle on the bottom, give it a light blue creeper face, and then a white stripe on the left. This one's kind of the cousin album cover to Veteran by JPEG Mafia, both portraying a figure on the right, only this one is a dude going down a slide going whee! And here's how the shield looks. It kind of shows the other half of the creeper symbol a little too much. Grr. Up next, we've got a very colorful cover that I wish I could pack more of that color into, and it is Ritche Blackmore's Rainbow by Rainbow. Take a blue banner, give it an orange triangle from the bottom, a white squiggly border, make the top half green, give it a blue block on top, a purple diamond, and then red spikes on top. Obviously, I would have liked to represent the rainbow bit as more than just green, but the other elements of the cover kind of combine to make the entire thing very rainbow-esque. So green felt like the best representative color that wasn't already represented in some way. Up next, we got a recent one from this year. We've already done the first album from this band, so this kind of rounds it out. We're all caught up with them. It is Plastic Death by Glass Beach. Take a black banner, give it a light blue flower pattern, a light blue diamond, make the bottom half black, give it a brown triangle from the bottom left, a light blue thing, and then a blue gradient from the bottom. I think it was pretty obvious that representing this creature was always going to involve the thing pattern, and I think it came out pretty well. There's a few more things I wish I could do with it, but I'd say overall that's pretty damn solid. Tee-hee shield, the thing is a little too pronounced here. Up next, another returning band with a very reoccurring color scheme, and it is World Coming Down by Typo Negative. Take a lime banner, give it black bricks, make the top half lime, give it a green block on the top, black spikes, a black gradient from the bottom, and then a lime stripe down the center. Another abstractified photograph. I think this one came out pretty well. With more layers, I try to get the bridge in a little bit, but I think that's pretty good for what it is. Up next is one that I toyed a lot with just because I wanted the background to be a little more vibrant. Took me a while, but gradient tricks always shine through. It is What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Take a cyan banner, give it green bricks, a black triangle on the bottom, a light blue gradient from the top, a black diamond, a brown circle, and then a light blue block on the top. I also really like the way that the diamond on this cover is kind of both his hood and also his beard. And yeah, the banner came out pretty good, and the shield decided to make a clown out of him. Chop the hair right off. Damn. Oh, I love this one. As soon as I figured this trick out when toying with the new banner patterns, I knew I struck gold. This one's pretty obvious. In case you can't tell already, it's Beat by King Crimson. I mean, come on. If you didn't know the cover, then that's the only way you wouldn't be able to recognize it immediately. Take a blue banner, give it a pink guster pattern, a blue globe pattern, make the bottom half blue, and then give it a blue stripe down the center. And there you have it, just a tiny pink music note on a blue banner. Is there any way to make this better? I don't think so. And the shield decided that this is what the result was. Well. Up next, we've got, this one was such a tough one. This one's not great, I'm not gonna lie, but we've been toying with this one for a while. Honestly, we can't figure out any way to get this any better than it currently is. But it's been so requested that I had to try. Normally I wouldn't touch this one with a 10-foot pole, but since y'all asked for it, it's Man on the Moon by Kid Cudi. I love Kid Cudi, I love this album. Not saying that because I don't like it, just because this is not a good cover for a banner. Deceivingly so. Anyways, we take a pink banner, give it white bricks, make the left side red, give it a purple triangle from the bottom, give it an orange gradient from the top, a black border, and then a white stripe on the left. This one's so abstract, You really have to just super squint. If anyone can figure something out for this one, let me know. I mean, it's fine. I don't know, I just wish I could make it a little better. Up next, this is an album I'm surprised I've never heard of or seen before, because I've been getting a lot of requests for it. I gotta put this on. And it is Heavy Weather by The Weather Report. Take a white banner, give it a black triangle on the bottom, give it a light gray snout pattern, a light gray circle, light gray spikes on the bottom, an orange gradient from the top, and then a gray triangle from the top. I actually really dig the way I did the hat on this cover. Also, the gradient on gray trick to get this to be tan, not too bad, I'd say. Love finding ways to cheat tan into existence in vanilla. As for the shield, I mean, it also conveys the cover pretty well, but the hat is a little too big. Up next, oh, speaking of tan, man, decided to go a gray direction for this tan cover, and it is From Mars to Sirius by Gojira. Take a light gray banner, give it a gray diamond, a gray thing, make the top half light gray, give it an orange circle, a white gradient from the top to cheat some more tan into existence, and then give it a gray circle. A pretty solid adaptation, I'd say, considering we got the whale, one of the moons, and a little bit of the tan that we are so desperate for. It's not as whale-like on the shield, unfortunately. Up next, oh, we got some fire here for the last two. Here we got an album cover with a very, very long name, and it is When the Pawn by Fiona Apple, or as fans like to call it, When. Take a red banner, give it black bricks, a red thing pattern, a red skull pattern, a black gradient from the bottom, a red circle, and then a red border. Once again, using gradients to cheat new colors in, use this black gradient to get the dark red for the hair. And I think that came out pretty solid. And then you got those bricks for all that text. And the shield? The shield looks pretty good too. And finally, oh, I'm so proud of this one. This is one of those covers, you look at it, there's no way it's gonna look good as a banner. Nope, it does. It's Disintegration by The Cure. How the hell did this come out looking good? Anyways, we take a black banner, give it a white block on the top left, a light gray creeper face, a black thing pattern, orange spikes on the bottom, pink spikes on top, and then to finish it all off, a black squiggly border. This one's crazy. This one's actually crazy. Like even the flowers, the somewhat obscured figure in the bottom. Oh, it's so perfect. I love this banner so much. Good thing too, because this is like my favorite album of the 80s. The shield variant gets a little lost in translation. Wish that squiggly border squiggled a little more. And that does it for the new ones, but I have a few updates to make. This one didn't come from the comments, this one came from me. In case you're unaware, my friends and I are playing on a modded server right now with 32 dye colors and 16 layers to put on a banner. So in the process of updating a lot of pre-existing banners, I figured out that there's so much more that I could have done to this cover just in vanilla alone. So we have the downward spiral from the very first episode, but now we have the addition of a black flower pattern and a black skull pattern. And it gives that messy blob on the cover of whatever it's made of, that much more of its shape. On the modded server, this is actually tan. Shout out. This next one isn't an update per se, it's just a cool alternative cover you can make. A few episodes back, we made Quebec by Ween. If you invert the colors, you can get the Ceasar demos. For this cover, we take a light blue banner, give it cyan stripes, blue spikes on top, make the bottom half black, and then we give it a light blue block on the bottom, black spikes, and then a cyan block on the bottom right. We really are being completionists with Ween here. And finally, the other update that I would like to make to one of my own designs. Once again, from the very first episode, we got Close to the Edge by Yes, but this time with a little better of a logo. This was the previous design, which I've featured a few times on Metallica covers ever since, but the actual cover has a little more to that, and the top part is pretty cyan. So in the update, we put lime spikes on top before we do a cyan border. And then it's the same steps as before. You cut it with the triangles, and then you put the green gradient on it. I mean, really, it's a very minor tweak. The big part of the cover that most people are going to recognize it for is just that green to black gradient. It's fine either way. And that'll do it for this episode. Sorry it took a little while to come out, but these videos were never going to stay my channel's focus forever. I'm still going to be making them for sure, but I'm going to be doing my own thing every now and then. And I have since been cooking up a lot more covers, so tune in next time for that. And for more fun with the new 1.21 patterns. We haven't even used the flow pattern yet. Gonna have to update some banners for those patterns too, now that I think about it. This has been Qualia Quartz, thank you for watching, goodbye.